Anthony Adebayo.
With you there, but if you're a coach, do you take that chance?
Yes.
You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. Anthony Adebayo and the most accurate sports coverage. Scotty B's Fantasy 5.
We're different from any other sport.
His sophomore year. Comes back and says, you know what?
And your boy, Scotty B.
We here. We here?
We here.
We here? Okay.
We here.
All right, man.
Hi, man. This is Off the Record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
It's your boy Scotty B, man. How you doing, man? I want to start this show by giving you congratulations, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
You know, I hate it kind of doing this because everybody knows that's watching that we do Battlegrounds, right? So Battlegrounds is basically a battle playlist. We've been doing it for just a little shy of 3 years now. And, you know, pretty much we just all get together, compete. It's gotten pretty technical in good sense or whatever.
Right.
But we've got seasons, we've got playoffs, we've got tournaments, we've got everything. So I've looked out, and I won 1 year, and Anthony has won another year, and a host of other people have won. And earlier last week, I believe it was on Wednesday, me and Anthony faced each other.
That's why we didn't record, by the way.
Yeah, that's why we didn't record. And you know, I don't know how many times I've battled Anthony, but I battle him a ton. And each battle I go into it where if it's not any other battle that I have to win, that's the one I want to win. You know what I mean? That's the one where I'm going to play like my best music. I'm going to try to like really just win because, you know, as you've seen the shows with 49ers and the Cowboys or fantasy stuff, we're like brothers, so we get really competitive. And I lost, right? And a loss, it stung. For those of you that don't know, I am a horse boy. And it's really weird, right? Because the older you get, you really don't compete in anything anymore.
But that's not true,
but I compete in fantasy,
right?
And I'm mad the same way when I lose on that, and then I compete in this, and I get mad the same way. So anyway, so I lose. Anthony goes on to the championship. Shout out to Queenie. He beats her in the championship, and he becomes the only two-time champion of the Battlegrounds, man. So congratulations, man. How do you feel?
No, it's cool. It's cool. So, you know, when we started the joint, it was mainly to get people together. And y'all don't mind my hoodie having a bad hair day. So, but it was mainly like to get people together, compete, you know, have fun, fellowship, all of those things. So, you know, I'd be lying if I said, you know, I don't care about winning because I want to win everything. I want to win whether we playing hopscotch, whatever,
right?
Spades, basketball, football. I want to win. So the first two times when I lost, I was like, dang. So it just so happens that we had back-to-back season and I won, and you know, it feels good. You know, during that time I had to travel, right? So I had drove to Ohio, to Cincinnati of all places. And so I felt like I was a little tired. So I was like, not necessarily nervous, but I'm like, will I be on my A game, play the right music, things of that nature. And I mean, it worked out. And again, shout out to Queenie, shout out to everybody that judged, that Tosh hosted. So it was cool. It was cool. Now, so when I get that second belt, I'll make sure to bring it over. And I was gonna bring the other one, but I was like, nah, I'll wait.
No, you deserve it, right? So I will say this: everybody gets their like championship run. You know what I mean? Like I had my like victory lap where you know you get that week where the week or two where you could just
talk
talk shit to everybody,
Mhm.
just kind of let them know that you're the champion or whatnot. So you're with them your week, because this was Sunday. Today is Wednesday, so you got a little bit
like
longer.
10 more days.
Yeah, you got a little bit more longer to go. But I will say this, right? So your battle was scheduled during the All-Star game.
Yeah.
And your battle was more interesting than the
All-Star
All-Star
game.
game.
and are we going right there right now?
Yeah, let's go right there, yeah.
All right. So it was weird, man, because I have a like, especially this year, I had a special interest in the All-Star game because of Bam. So I was just like, yeah, I want to watch it. But the All-Star game, first of all, it took way too long to start. I mean, they didn't start playing basketball till almost 9:00. And so I'm just like, damn. So that's the first problem, right? It took way too long to start. And I did like the picking the teams live. I like that, but I'm saying maybe you start that at 7:30, because and they drew it out, made sure it was whatever, all the antics and stuff like that. But then we got to the game, and I was like, this is boring, because I'm battling, so when I play my song, I have my iPad right here watching the game. And I'm like, this joint is boring. And when they came up with this new format, I like the format. I like that they donate the money. But my problem with it is they still not playing any defense. Ultimately, it looks like the basketball version of the Pro Bowl.
Right.
And my thing is, with basketball is a whole lot different than football, right? You can play your ass off in basketball, and more than likely, you're not going to get hurt. Now, I understand these guys have played 60, 59, 60 games. So I get that point. They got the stretch run to get to the playoffs. Some of them going to be trying to get to the playoffs. I totally get that. But there's got to be, I remember, I want to say it was like 3 years ago when they started this format. No. The format with the score format. It was like maybe 4 years ago. And I remember that game, man, there was some defense being played. They wasn't like, especially that fourth quarter, you would have thought it looked like a regular NBA game. And that's what people want to see. Like, you don't want to see an All-Star game with just dunks and threes. Like, if for instance, it would have been good to see Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, since they was on separate teams, go at it like they was in practice, right? So it just a lot of these guys play harder than that. It ain't no probably. They play harder than that in the offseason when they in the Drew League and all these summer leagues. Man, they playing like crazy. Like they go to they're not playing like that at the Rucker.
So I guess the problem is, and I guess it's the same problem with the Pro Bowl, is how do you get that incentive for the players to want to play like that? Because the other side of it, like you said, is a lot of times when you get into the All-Star game, you're not in your best shape. Like, well, not best shape, but this best health-wise. So you look at Joel Embiid, where he went in, he kind of lingering in there,
right,
foot injury, and it's kind of like, do I go?
Don't play
at all.
Don't play. I mean, and that comes to my other point. And I know guys didn't like when I said this. You didn't agree with it. Have 15 guys. Your All-NBA team is 15 guys. Have 15 guys on each team. So now, Giannis got hurt 2 nights before the damn game, or 3 nights before the game. Well, if you got 15 guys, he played 20. He started, got his basket, and got out the game. But you can still get other guys in there. And one, you ain't got to worry about snubs. 2, you ain't got to worry about some of the other crap. And then you're going to have, like you say, you're going to have guys that are hurt. So, I mean, make the roster bigger so these guys can compete. That's one of the things I could think of. But a lot of
times, do you think it should go back to East and West? Because I almost feel like so they did the whole spot 24 points in the fourth quarter in honor of Kobe Bryant.
Right.
But the problem this year was Team Giannis was up so much to where it was just
LeBron had to score like 40 points. Yeah.
Exactly. So even though they tried to play a little bit tougher and they tried to make it a little bit more competitive, the game just got out of reach really fast. Now, prior to all this, when it was just East and West, that last 6-7 minute stretch was the time to where, okay, we're going to put in our people, we're going to try to win.
Right.
You know, everybody gets a little bit serious, but all in all, I think it was a good weekend. I was talking about this with one of our friends. I think what kind of hurts the All-Star game is depends what city it's in.
Oh,
And the fact that, and I'm sure, right? And this is no slight to the people in Utah. I'm sure that they gave, I mean, the red carpet treatment, and they had everything going, but wasn't nobody going out their way to go to Utah. I mean, it just is what it is. There's no comparison between Vegas and Utah. Like, you tell me that the All-Star game is in Vegas, we got a conversation.
Absolutely.
You tell me it's in Utah, I think I want to save my money and watch it at the house.
I'll watch it at home.
But speaking of Utah, and I got a couple of things I do want to get your take on. Karl Malone.
Right.
We do got to talk Karl Malone, right?
He don't get held accountable. Well, go ahead.
But that's what we got to talk. So you got Utah. So when people think of Utah basketball,
right?
You think of Karl Malone, you think of John Stockton, and maybe a few people think of Deron Williams and, you know, recently Donovan Mitchell. But for the most part, it's Karl Malone, John Stockton.
Right.
From what I hear, John Stockton is a little off. As far as no, I'm dead serious. Not that there's anything wrong with him, but he's one of those guys that you may not necessarily like want to hear what he has to say.
Right.
They say he's like a conspiracy theorist. No, that's why I've heard so John Stockton. So he's one of them people that you may not want to invite him over to dinner. You know, even though he's John Stockton, you might get him at the crib and you might be like, oh, John, we're going to have to, we will have to ask you to go. Ask you to roll. So it leaves Karl Malone, right? So most people are unaware of this because it's an undercover story, and I hate breaking this. He got a 12-year-old pregnant when I believe he was 19, right?
Yeah, 19 or 20.
Right. So it's something like fishy, and I don't really recall all the details of it, but it's something that really didn't get like exposed to a lot later, to where he wasn't playing. Right. This got exposed well after his playing career or something, but it's one of those things that once people kind of found out the story, it was just like, okay, Karl Malone, we're kind of good on you. Karl Malone has done a pretty good job of staying out of the public eye. I mean, he's out driving his tractors, delivering mail. I mean, whatever.
He's at All-Star. He was at the game.
He was at the game. Do you think that was the wrong decision for the NBA, or how do you feel about that?
Well, the fact of the matter, I'm surprised Karl Malone was there. I don't really think he likes a lot of black people, but that's another subject for another day. You know, I think it would have been an issue if people cared, and it seems like no one cares about Karl Malone, right? And I say that because let's just say this was Jordan.
Okay.
Let's just say it was Jordan. It would be headline news. He definitely wouldn't be an owner of a team. And they'll probably try and you know, they probably tried to cancel him at that moment.
Shout out to Jordan too.
What did Jordan do?
Man donated $10 million on his birthday to the Make-A-Wish
Oh,
Foundation.
yeah.
So shout out
Absolutely.
to Jordan. Before we forget
Get some horns for Jordan.
Yeah, get some horns for him.
You know,
biggest donation the Make-A-Wish Foundation has gotten.
Nice, and he did that on his birthday. so he can write that off on it. I'm joking. I'm kidding. I mean, we know what it is.
Yeah.
No, but that still doesn't
negate the fact
yeah.
that he had to give up his own money.
He donated some money.
Right.
So, but Karl Malone, I feel like that they don't hold him accountable to that. Then he had which he was an absentee father. He, like his daughter who played in the WNBA, he didn't meet her until I want to say she was right before she got drafted. So, and her brother, right? And that just, to me, that's just kind of like, you knew this kid existed, and you had this whole NBA career. It's not like he found out when he was in like a rookie in Utah. He was in, I want to say was he in LA at that time? Either he was getting ready to leave Utah or he was in LA when, because a matter of fact, when it was right when he got to LA, because when they played Detroit in the finals, she got to go to the finals, and I want to say she was playing for the Detroit Shock at the time. And so they was asking her, who you gonna root for, the Pistons or the Jazz? And she was like, she loved the Pistons, but she got to root for the Jazz because of her dad. And I mean, and so they have a relationship now, so that's good. But it's just, to me, it's just a little murky. And some may say, well, back then it was different. It ain't that much different in the world, yo. And it doesn't matter that it's different because people will pull up tweets from just 10 years ago of something that somebody said, that somebody posted posted a rap lyric,
right?
And they'll bring it back up. They did it to a number of people. So I feel like, people just don't care about Karl Malone, because if they did, that stuff would start to
resurface.
Yeah,
and it's probably not. I mean, this is probably the last time anybody's going to talk about it for a long time. I mean, he's going to go back to doing whatever he was doing prior, and life is going to go on. But I just thought it was interesting when I saw him.
Yeah,
I was like, ooh. They got called up there, man.
Yeah, so let me ask you, because one of the things, and shout out to Anthony Edwards, right? I think he's gonna be a star. He's gonna be a star.
He's having an amazing season this season.
Absolutely. One of the things he said, he got asked about if he could change anything in the NBA, what would he change? And he said it would be, the load management, how guys are just not playing just because. He said there's people that could afford one ticket a year, and they looking to go see that guy play, and that guy's sitting out. So clearly there's a problem. The fans have said it's a problem. Now you got actually current players saying that it's a problem. The commissioner said it ain't a problem. These guys are human. They hurt. And what are your thoughts on that before I get my
I agree with him, right?
Well,
Anthony.
Oh, okay. I
agree with him, right? So there is the aspect that all the athletes are human, and I get that. But I'm a fan, and most of the time, if I go to a game, I've got to pay for the ticket, or maybe I'll come up on a ticket here and there, and it is extremely frustrating to go thinking that you're going to see a star player and that player just sits out. You know what I mean? Especially like if you buy Laker tickets, which they are going to uptick because it's the Lakers,
absolutely.
It's LeBron, and you get there and LeBron is taking the night off because he's just broke the scoring record. So
he took a week off.
He took
PTO.
And look, man, shout out to him for breaking the record. And we got to talk a little bit more about that too. But for him to take a week off, which I'm sure he needed to recover and he's earned it. But if I paid for tickets thinking that LeBron is coming to town and I don't see LeBron and you've had the right to upcharge me those tickets. Now, it'd be a lot different. If they're going to do load management, I believe the ticket should just be a flat rate. Right. The tickets, no matter who you play. This has never happened.
It's never gonna happen.
It's never happened. But I mean, it should be a flat rate. Like no matter what you're paying for in the season, in the stadium for this particular season, this is what the ticket should cost. Now, maybe at the end of the season, based off of the team's performance or whatever the case may be, it can be raised up. But I just feel like it's unfair to charge somebody, especially like if you start getting in the floor seats or you start getting into the hundreds and you're paying like $400 and $500. I'll use us as an example. We were going to, when we were in San Francisco, we was going to go see the Warriors. And a matter of fact, I think Luka didn't play. Was it Luka that didn't play?
No, Luka didn't play.
It was Luka that wasn't going to play.
Well, Steph didn't play. Most of them didn't play. I think Draymond played.
Yeah, Draymond
and Clay played. Steph and I got to check on Luka. I can't remember, but
I don't think Luka played.
No, I think Luka was iffy that day because I think either he heard something.
He was iffy, but he ended up not playing.
Right.
And this is before they got Kyrie Irving, right?
It was before,
so it was before that. To put that into perspectives, we was looking and just put this into perspective. Nosebleed seats that and folks, I'm scared of heights, right? I mean, these seats were I wasn't going to go. They were pretty. I'm not going to watch the game like this to where it looks like I'm at the top of the stadium. Been over if I make one false move, I'm going to tumble. Those tickets were $400, $500 for those.
They were the nosebleeds, and that was an ABC Saturday night game also.
Right.
And we was looking because we was going out there. We was like, oh, we about to go to the game, you know. And the crazy part, we got our hotel wasn't even far from the arena. It was probably like 5 minutes from the arena. We're like, oh man, we good money. And then we saw them prices. It was like, man, no. It's like, are you crazy?
But imagine if we would have paid that $500, and I guess that's where I'm going with it, right? So we'd pay $500 to be higher than high. I mean, that looked pretty insanely like
they were definitely nosebleeds.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they call them nosebleeds.
Yeah, and we would have paid that not to be able to see the court. And even in our binoculars, Luka wouldn't even been playing.
I'm glad I already saw Luka play. So, but yeah, no, I totally get that. And I got another story. So I remember this is when Dwayne Wade and Jimmy Butler were in Chicago, right? Everybody knows I'm a Chicago fan. I want to say that this was before Bam was still in college. So Dwayne Wade and Jimmy Butler was in Chicago. Now, mind you, somebody had got these tickets, but I think I paid like $60, right? They were some good seats. So I was like, I'm like, cool. I'm going to see, you know, and at the time, Dwayne Wade is my favorite player. I'm like, shoot, on my favorite team. So I'm like, good. I'm getting to go to Bulls on Wizards game. So, matter of fact, it's Denzel Valentine's rookie year. So we get to the game, and I'm like, all right. Not only did Wade and Butler not play, they didn't even show up. They wasn't even there. I'm like, yo. Now the Bulls won, but I didn't care. It was like I came to see those guys play ball, and they ain't here. They didn't show up. Now I could care less because I could go to any game I want. But at that time, it's like, yo, man, you pay to see these guys play the game. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and these tickets aren't cheap. So what Anthony Edwards was saying is right. Yes, we're blessed. We can go to pretty much any game we want when we want to go, right? But everybody's not like that. Right. There are people that could go to one game maybe every other year, right? And now if you're gonna have load management, right? Because it's like, you say all of that, so how can you fix it, right? What can you do? I don't think you should lower the amount of games that's played, because if you have a 65 game season, they're only gonna play 40. Right. You know what I'm saying? They still gonna take their time off. So I think some of the things, you know, like what Adam Silver said about proposing, you got to play in a certain amount of games to get postseason awards, right? Or any of those awards. and I do like that because a lot of those awards are in those contracts,
yep.
right? So that's one of the things. Another thing is that if you are going to sit, you have to it can't be if you're on the Eastern Conference team, you can't load management on the Western. Now, if you hurt. It is what it is. But you can't load management on a city you go to once a year, if you can play. Now, if you playing, like, let's say if you the Knicks and you play the Nets, I think you play 3 times or 4 times or something like that, then yeah, you can sit one of those games. But I think there has to be some sort of cap on when you can load manage. You can't. Again, this is all if you're healthy or not. Because if you legitimately hurt, you hurt. It is what it is. But if you just need a night off, so if you play a team 3 times, you can't miss 2 of those games.
So I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you had one player to pick in the NBA,
Mm-hmm.
who is the king? Who is your king of load management?
Kawhi.
Okay. Yeah, I got Kawhi too.
It's Kawhi.
Kawhi Leonard is a
He hasn't even played 40 games this year.
Load management.
Yeah.
I was talking to one of our good friends, Ike, and we were talking about John Wall. John Wall is becoming a load manager too, and we're both saying the same. And I love John Wall, man. He'll be forever one of my favorite basketball players. Just watching them here in the DC area,
Mm-hmm.
but that's a load manager son of a bitch.
Well, he was trying to get out of Washington. Well, part he was hurt, and part, but in Houston, I don't know what that was. That was just
He played 40 out of 80 games. And I mean, that's not maybe
for Houston. He played that many?
Yeah, he played 1 year. He got in there 40 games.
When?
I want to say it was the first year that he was there. So this was this might have been the year that Harden got traded. Look it up. But I'm pretty sure he got in there 40 games. This was the year that they had DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah. I think Harden was there. That's the year Harden got traded. Yeah.
So when man Harden wore a fat suit. All right, so we have to have this conversation, right?
Okay.
And I'm a little concerned that it's going to take us the rest of the show to have this
So
conversation.
you want to do the winner of the week first?
No, I don't have a good winner of the week this week.
Okay.
So we don't have to do that. All right, I want to talk about it before I bring it up. XFL football. Have you been watching?
I watched because I was traveling a lot this weekend. I did see the I was supposed to actually cover the DC game, but I did watch the DC game. Yeah, and I thought it was all right. They were throwing lemons on the field. DC, I'll tell you what. Right now, out of XFL, from the little highlights, DC has the best fan base so far. Thus far.
I could go with that. So I do like some of the innovations that the XFL always brings. I do like the fact that you can go for 3 points.
Yeah.
I like.
The NFL is still in a lot of these.
Oh yeah, they're going to still
like
a
the
lot
kickoff
of that.
and
The kickoff. The onside kick. Did you see that you can go for 4th and 15 instead of actually doing like an onside kick?
wait, no, say that now.
So they've got a rule that basically, like, instead of doing like an onside kick, you could just go for 4 and 15. So you'll get the ball on your 25-yard line, and it's 4th and 15.
And if you don't get it, then what?
Then
They get the ball at the 25.
Yep.
Wow.
I think that's innovation, man.
Wow.
Yeah. So they've got some pretty cool rules. Did you? They also got the winner of the game gets $1,000 extra in their paycheck.
Okay.
Which, I mean, that's incentive to win. So I've always felt like the XFL has been cutting edge. They do have most of the guys there have NFL experience.
Yeah. Some of them were terrible in the NFL, but you know.
What do you think of Ben DiNucci?
He cost them the game, Seattle the game too.
Yeah, when I saw him throw Josh Gordon that touchdown, I was like, Ben DiNucci got a job. But I mean, you look at the guys. I mean, Ben DiNucci, he could play. He just couldn't play on Sundays.
That's fair. Well,
No-
clearly he couldn't play last.
Well,
Sunday either,
well,
but-
okay. So to be fair to Ben DiNucci, I watched him at Hard Knocks the year that they had Dallas, and he looked good. He looked good in practice. So he could play. It's just Jerry Jones had it correct. The lights just are too bright on Sunday for certain
Right.
people.
Right. So I'm definitely gonna tune in a little bit more. Moving forward. I know this weekend I'll have a little bit more time, like on Saturday, or maybe even Sunday, to see how that goes in regards to the XFL. Do I think it's here to stay? I think it has a shot. I think the production looks well. And again, they're like you said, they're innovating some things with football itself. I didn't know about the 4th and 15 thing. I think that's pretty damn dope. But you're willing to get a team the ball on the 25 or closer if you get sacked. That's oof. But I mean, I like that. I like it.
I mean, where you look at it, right? So football, every major sport has some sort of development league. And I feel like the XFL, because it's at the right season, because right now in this country, we just love football. You can't get enough of football. Basketball right now is shaping out to be a really good season. It's a lot of good basketball that's left to be played, but people are still on the high of football.
Yeah,
I mean, we just witnessed one of the better Super Bowls. I think the season went pretty well. So you have a lot of people that, and from a gambling and from a sports aspect, football season is just so much easier to gamble on that because a lot of people, let's be honest, you've got fantasy football that revolutionized football a lot because it engaged a lot of people. The fact that you can gamble from your phone on all these games it is contributing to making the games a lot more interesting.
I agree. I agree. You bet on some XFL games already?
So I'm trying to get a fantasy league for the XFL. I've been unsuccessful with that.
This is the second time you've done this. Because remember when it was out before, you tried, I think it was on Discord. And I think at that time, Discord was like, nobody knew anything about Discord. I said, Scott, what the hell are you doing? Yo? That joint didn't work. It was like, it was all over the place. And now you got another one?
No. I don't have another one. I can't get enough people that are serious enough to play XFL fantasy football.
I'll play.
So
how many you need?
I don't know yet. Because I've only got one person. Ern, shout out to Ern, because you know what, I can call Ern. I can call you too, right? I can call Ern. I can be like, you know what, I'm going to do fantasy racing, or we're going to do fantasy horse betting, and if it's one person that's going to sign up, it's Ern, and I appreciate him for that, but. Yeah, I'm trying to get that going just to make it a little bit more interesting. That's a couple of dilemmas, right? It's only 8 teams. So it's not going to be as
I think that makes it more fun. It's not like you know all the players. So that you drafting the team, you're gonna get to learn some of these guys anyway, and it gives you a smaller sample size, or not necessarily sample size, but a smaller pot to where Paxton Lynch is playing. Okay, let me see.
He's a third stringer though.
That's
and no, I'm serious.
He was a first round draft.
He's a first round draft pick, but he's a third stringer on whatever team he's playing on. Now here's the second option that I had. So suppose, let's say we decide to not do fantasy league. DraftKings has it where you can set up the create a contest. So I really was thinking about doing that because we could put up our $10.
Right.
You could try to compete. Whoever competes each week. If you don't like it, you don't like it.
Sounds
But
like a
just
plan.
but just to engage everybody and get everybody a little bit more active into it.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see. So now XFL starts in like a couple months. I mean, not XFL, but USFL. So I guess when XFL is going to be, I guess they're going to coincide for a little bit. That should be fun. They all going to be done by the time NFL. So you got pretty much have year-round football.
So look, so the XFL is something that they're capitalizing on. There's XFL Thursday night football.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be on tomorrow, and then you've got Saturday night football,
Mm-hmm.
and then you've got the
Sunday
two teams that's playing on Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like it. I mean, I think so. You got The Rock back in it. That's the first thing. He's super popular. And I guess he's the commissioner too, right? Yeah. So you got The Rock back in it. Then you got a bunch of NFL. You got Josh Gordon in there, right? And we know what it is with Josh Gordon. They may not drug test in the XFL. I don't know, but is it possible that Josh Gordon has a good season and some NFL team picks him up again?
Absolutely. When I saw Josh Gordon, I didn't have to see any other player. If we were to have a fantasy draft or a live draft for XFL, he was gonna be my first pick.
Right.
Like I've always been infatuated with the talent of Josh Gordon. I've always felt that he's definitely got enough chances. I think nobody can disagree with that. But the talent of Josh Gordon, and even this many years later, to still be able to play with everything that he's been through, I mean, he had to be a remarkable talent. But yeah, Josh Gordon, when I saw him, I was like, Ben DiNucci got him one, got him the target.
Yeah, I mean, now here's the thing. Ben DiNucci had Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb. Did he have CeeDee Lamb? Yeah, he had CeeDee Lamb. Was CeeDee Lamb there when Dak got hurt?
Oh yeah. He's been there. Yeah.
So I mean, hey, we'll see. But I am excited about the season. As excited as I can be. Yay. But I do think they'll get through the season. I do believe that. I believe that they'll get through the season. I mean, the XFL has given the NFL so many ideas that like just the camera angles and different camera views, and they've given them a ton of ideas. So the NFL, the thing is that if the NFL only benefits from those ideas if the XFL is not around,
right?
So if they let's just say they make it to another year. All right, well, let's see what happens. But I think that they're gonna make it. I think that they
were gonna make it before. Had it not been for the pandemic, the XFL would have survived. The games were getting pretty good. I think it was enough interest, and it came right at the right time.
Right.
All right, so let's shift to basketball.
Okay.
Our good buddy Russell Westbrook is going to be a Clipper. Is that a good move or a bad move?
For who?
For the Clippers.
I think it's an okay move. I don't know if it's necessarily a bad move. It depends on what the expectations for Russell Westbrook is. If it's to be a star, then it's a terrible move. If it's for him to be a role player that can come off the bench and he can do that. Now, I do feel like, eventually they're gonna have him starting. But if he get it in there now, and he can, play a role, come off the bench, give energy, pass the ball. I mean, we all know he can't shoot, and play some sort of defense. I mean, that's another piece.
Yeah, I think it's they did a good job assembling that bench. Some of their pickups that they had before the trade deadline are going to really benefit them. I don't think they could lose by picking up Russell Westbrook. I know most people felt like it was a bad move. Most people watched him play in LA. I thought
I didn't think he had a bad season.
I didn't think he had a bad season either. I just think that it just didn't fit. Which is, yeah, definitely pause because it's always fit, but he didn't fit into what the Lakers were trying to do. And I felt that he got a little bit of a bad rap for that because he did do a lot of the things that the Lakers was asking. Now, one thing that's starting to surface a little bit more is that he divided that locker room.
The Lakers locker room.
The Lakers locker room. And they're starting to say that he divides locker rooms, and it might not have been a good idea to bring him in a Clippers locker room that struggles with identity.
Yeah.
One thing about the Clippers, and we watched it in the bubble, right? That team is not mentally tough, and they folded, and because they don't have the identity and they don't have the, I'm not going to say toughness because they've got like a lot of guys that have been battle tested as far as in the NBA, but they don't have that just leadership. You don't.
Are they overrated?
Absolutely. I think they're overrated. I think you got Kawhi, you got Paul George, and now you got Russ, and they have had enough pieces to where they should be there.
They say he's there to help when Leonard takes a day off.
Yeah, I mean that's valid. I mean, Kawhi in a 5-day stretch, if he's got 3 games, he's playing one of those.
Hey, yo, his PTO is crazy.
Yeah.
Yo, that man is, that is crazy, man, because he, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I mean, so you have, like, who else was a big, another pickup?
So we never talked about this because it happened right when we got left the air 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Kevin Durant, he's going to make his debut Friday. He's in Phoenix. So we've got a team that basically was spiraling, right? They gave up some really good pieces to get Kevin Durant, which I wasn't mad at. I don't think most people was mad at. But they're in the situation where they've got to win this year.
His son?
Yeah, I don't think that. I think honestly, they should be under the most pressure. I think Chris Paul, he's running his course. I mean, Chris Paul's like 18 years in, and I think me and you talked about this. Chris Paul might just need to go have a bald head. I mean, like Chris Paul, I look. Like, yeah, let this shit go, brother. You know what I mean? Like Chris Paul is getting old, man.
So you said that the Suns have the most pressure to win a championship.
Yes.
The Suns have the most pressure over Philly or Boston. Oh, you talking about like in the whole?
Okay, well let's start with Philly, right? So you got James Harden there. And you got Embiid.
Yeah.
Embiid, I'm not going to say that he gets a pass because he never gets a pass, but he hasn't felt the pressure of having to get it done. And I think he's at that point in his career to where most people have acknowledged that he's a superstar. James Harden, as quiet as, well, it's not even quiet. I mean, it's common knowledge. In the finals, he's disappeared. The last couple of years, even though I think I like what he's doing in Philadelphia, his career is winding down. Like he's not the James Harden that we were accustomed to seeing at Houston or we were accustomed to seeing when he first got to Brooklyn. So their window, and then Doc Rivers, we spoke in great lengths about this. Is he's under pressure too. So you're right. Philly is under pressure. The Boston Celtics are not under as much pressure as one would think. The reason why I feel like they're not under as much pressure is you have a first-year coach
Mhm.
and then you got Tatum and Brown. So the pressure there for them to get it done,
Mhm.
and they've got all the pieces to get it done is there, but the expectations that they have to win this year, to me, don't outweigh the 76ers or the Suns. I
Right.
think most people feel like Jason Tatum and Brown have a little bit more time. And if that coach doesn't get over the hump in his first year, people are going to give him a little bit more of a pass.
So you know who the Celtics remind me of?
Who?
The Eagles. They remind me of the Eagles. Because the same thing that people say about the Celtics, they said about the Eagles. I think they got the most talented team or the most depth from the first player to their last. So no, I agree with that. Like you add in the scandal with everything, and for them to have the best record in the league, because that coach is probably going to win Coach of the Year.
He should win Coach of the Year.
And so I think that Milwaukee doesn't have the pressure because they just won the championship a few years ago.
And they're on a 12-game winning streak,
Yeah.
and they're clicking at the right time. So they're getting Middleton. They're getting Middleton back.
Milwaukee's going to
They're
be scary.
clicking at the right time. I don't think the pressure is there, but I think
Mhm.
they're scary in the East. How do you feel about Nick McMillan being fired today for the Hawks?
Well, yesterday
Or yesterday? They started on the
yeah, he should have been fired. They underachieving like crazy.
Is it more about him or is it more about Trae Young?
I think it's both. I mean, I don't think Trae Young. That they don't mix. For whatever reason, they and you would think he's a point guard. Nate McMillan's a point guard. Trae Young, but it don't work. It didn't work.
So let's dissect Trae Young, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this year
he's a diva.
Yes, he's a diva. This year he's averaging 26, he's averaging 10, and he's averaging 3. And shooting percentages are a little bit down, but for the most part, I think most people would agree 26 and 10, you're getting the job done, right?
Right.
And you look at the team, they made the deal to get Murray, the guy from San Antonio, right? So now they've got a solid backcourt because that guy, he can play point, he can play two, he's a dog. You got him next to Trae Young, very good backcourt. Then you look at their front court and you look at Capella, you look at I guess what's his name, Collins. Yeah, and you look at like two players that can run with you, they can rebound. For whatever reason, they're not as strong of a defensive team as I would think they are.
Right.
And then they've got a plethora of just like talent and pieces here and there to where I do agree they should be better than the 8th seed in the East. Now, one thing, and I'll say this about the Atlanta Hawks. Since I've been alive, the Atlanta Hawks has been an underachieving organization. They've always had like all these pieces, and you always think that they're going to do something, and they never do. I mean, it dates back to Dominique Wilkins and Mike Bibby and Joe Johnson and Josh Smith and all those guys and Al Horford. And I mean, it's just for the past Steve Smith, Mookie Blaylock, like for the past 30 years, it's like the Hawks are there. And they're never like they've had, let's be clear, right? They've had stints to where they've been 1 through 3. But for the most part, the Hawks is always 6 through 12. Like they'll be right there at 6.
Yeah.
And it felt like during the Jordan years, he was getting them up out of there.
And then LeBron came.
Yeah, then he started getting them out of there.
Yeah.
So one thing that I see, right? So right now they're bringing in Quinn Snyder, right? And that seems to be the rumor. Quinn Snyder is going to be the hottest name on free agency. No,
Mhm.
no doubt about it, right? They're bringing him in because of his success that he had with Donovan Mitchell. He got a lot out of Donovan Mitchell. They're hoping to have the same success out of Trae Young. But you look at it and you say, all right, this season is a wash, right? You're eighth. You're not going to get a championship. Your organization is at some sort of ceiling, they're at
Right.
some sort of stall. But your mentality is you want to bring in Quinn Snyder. You don't want to do your due diligence to wait to see how the season's going to play out, who's going to come available, who's going to be a good fit for my organization. You've got a short-sighted view on getting Quinn Snyder.
Well, Snyder was a good coach.
He's a good coach, but could you get a better coach? Could you convince other people to come in? Could you just realize that these are the wrong pieces and we're going to reevaluate some of our young pieces and figure out who wants to be here and who plays and figure all that sort of stuff out? Or do you just start it with Quinn Snyder and just say, you know what? We're here today. And
So you think they should have went interim until the end of the season?
I think that whoever is in the Hawks front office, and I mean this sincerely.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I mean this is sincerely. They might be in bed with whoever's in the front office with the Hornets. But
here's the thing, though. You got Quinn Snyder, because this could end up turning out to be a good thing, right? You got about 23 games left. You're in the 8th, but you're 3.5 games out of the 6th spot with 23 games left. It's possible that they can catch the Knicks. So a lot has to happen. 3.5 games doesn't seem like a lot of games, but you still got other people around you. You got the Wizards, who are a game back of you, or half a game back of you. You got Miami, who was 3 games ahead of you. You got a lot of, you may just get to the 7th seed, right? And for the play-in. But being the 7th seed, I mean, I guess the 7th and 8th is pretty much the same. You're just either on the road or home. But you can't drop anymore, right? And if you have somebody like Quinn Snyder, who is a seasoned NBA coach, he may be able to help you win, 9 out of 12, and then for the other remaining, 4 out of whatever, So if they could go 14 and 9.
So I agree with you here, right? Basketball, well, all sports, right? It's all about if your team can get hot at the right time. We've seen it in baseball, we've seen it in football, and basketball is no different. You can go on a run. Now, I agree with you that all those things can happen. Where I disagree with you is the probability of all those things happening. It's just, and I could be wrong, right? A month from now, 2 months from now, we could be revisiting this. They could be in the 6th spot. They could be the hottest team in the NBA.
Yeah.
And Quinn Snyder could have been the best hire. I just think if I'm the GM, I got a little longevity because I just fired my coach. I got my scapegoat, right? We're going to blame him, even though he was going to step down. We're going to blame him for everything, right? I'm going to buy myself as much time, to get it right? Because right now, what I'm looking at is an organization that's had 3 coaches in the past 4 years, if it's not 3. And if you really want to go back to the last 5 years, it's probably more like 5 coaches in 5 years. They always seem to lose their job right around this time. Because if I recall, Nate McMillan was brought up in the ranks.
Yeah. And I want to say it was like right around the All-Star game.
Yeah. So for the last 5 years, it's been for the same reason. They've been underachieving, and they have not got the most out of Trae Young, which is hard to really say when he's averaging 26 points and 10 assists. But that's the argument, and that's the hill that they're dying on. Yeah. So I'm gonna be with them. Maybe they think he can give them a little bit more. I just don't.
Didn't Trae Young and Nate McMillan butt heads from the beginning?
Yes. Yes, they did butt heads from the beginning. And I mean, it's a lot there. But what I'm trying to figure out is okay, you traded Trae Young for Luka, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Trae Young has been great in his own mind, but I think most of us will agree that he's not Luka.
Right.
But he's held his own. At what point are you going to put the right pieces around them? Because right now it seems like they're putting pieces around them.
We back. Y'all thought we was gonna be gone. That was our little magic trick for the day. Abracadabra. Anyway, so we had just a FYI. We were talking about the Hawks, and we're done talking about the Hawks. I do have a question for you. Earlier this year, Ja Morant said he was good in the West. He was like, he got this. It is what it is. Since then, Kyrie Irving's gotten to Dallas, and Kevin Durant's in Phoenix. It looks like LeBron and AD's healthy. Dame's catching a little bit of fire. I don't think the Trailblazers is going to do anything, but
you got the Kings right there.
Yeah, the Kings are still there, and the Nuggets are the Nuggets. They got a lot of wins, you know, and they don't look like they're slowing down either. Not to stay on the Nuggets, because I do want to get what you think about like the Grizzlies, and are they done? Not done, but do they still? Is Ja Morant still saying the same thing? Now, Aaron Gordon is playing some damn good basketball, and Michael Porter is playing some damn. That's why Denver is what they are.
And Murray, when he's healthy, is playing some damn good ball. No, Denver's scary.
Mm-hmm.
The issue that I have with Denver is it's the same Denver team. I mean, they're playing well, but I don't see that team coming out of the West. I just don't see, especially with all these teams revamped, right? Because we can say what we want to say about the Clippers. They might be there. We can say what we want to say about Dallas. They got better. We can say what we want to say about the Suns. They got better. We're just acknowledging the fact that the Grizzlies may not be as good as they think they are, but they're there.
They're the 2 seed as of right now. So, and that's the crazy thing, is that you got all of those things and don't know what's going on with Zion, but can the Grizzlies get out of the West?
Yeah, I think they can. I think right now, and this is what's making basketball so fascinating right now. You've got a lot of teams that can make a push. So you got like the Lakers that are going to make a push. You got like a lot of other little teams out there that make a push. But then there's a lot of teams that they're good, but they can be had.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Like nobody for a second doesn't believe that they can come out the East. Like you stated, I mean, if you're Miami, you're Boston, you're Milwaukee,
Philly.
you're the Knicks, you're Philly, you're whoever is in the East, you feel like you're right there.
Yep.
The West is the same way to where it's like, yeah, you got Denver, but
nobody fears them for real.
nah,
They don't
nobody
fear
fears them.
Yeah.
I,
Man, they're a damn good team, but nobody fears them.
I don't think there's a team out west that other teams are looking at like, yeah, we might be in a little bit of trouble.
Well,
Go ahead.
it's funny that you say that, right? Because I think Phoenix is that team that people are like, oh boy, right? I not that they fear them per se, but they like, well, if they're healthy, that starting five is going to put a lot of pressure on everybody. Now they bench kind of got like wiped out a little bit because of the trade, but they still got enough.
This is what I fear with them, and I agree that starting five is deadly. But I always believe what made Phoenix good was they were young, and basketball is a young man's game, and it's you got to have the right mix of youth, and you got to have a few veterans to pull it together. And I felt like Phoenix, they had it right with the formula. They had big wings that could defend, that could run, and they could basically defend the perimeter. They had a strong down low game, and then they had a superstar, emerging superstar with Devin Booker, and then you had the right veteran leadership and Chris Paul getting it done, and then he had the right solid backup. Right. So I felt like they had the true formula. If you look at the Warriors early on, before they had KD and stuff, they had a young nucleus, a young core that can run with everybody. When you start using the LeBron format, to where you start recruiting your old buddies and they've been in the league for 10, 11 years, those guys can't keep up. It's a lot of miles on them.
Yeah.
you know, so that's what I worry about with Phoenix is
they did get Terrence Ross.
Yeah. I mean, we woke up and they're suddenly old. I mean, they're one of the oldest teams now.
Yeah, but I think, man, the pieces that they do have, man. I mean, they get TJ Warren with KD. You know, do they have the best starting five in the league?
They got one of the best. So there's another concern I have. They have two of the most injury-prone individuals in the wrong moment that you ever see in your life.
Chris
Paul is good for a Game 6 injury in the Western Conference Finals. And Kevin Durant, I mean, it's the reason why we're not talking about him being in the competition for the scoring. I mean, to break LeBron's record is because of all the injuries he's had prior. Yeah. I mean, he puts up just as many points, if not more points, but his injury history.
He won't last. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, the Slim Reaper is hurt every 45 games. For the past 5 years, every 45 games, he's got. I've never seen somebody, and to his credit, he comes back. But my God, how many times are you going to sprain an MCL? How many times are you going to do it?
So let me ask you before we get out of here.
Yeah.
Who do you have coming out the East and the West?
The West, with all that being said, I think I'm going to go Phoenix.
After
all that being said, I'm going to bet that they don't get hurt. And the East, I'm going to go Boston.
So Phoenix losses in the finals.
Yep, and that's yeah.
So I want to say Phoenix so bad, man. I want to, but I do think that this is the year, somehow, some way, that Denver pulls it off. I'm gonna go Denver. I'm gonna go Denver out the West, and in the East, I'm sorry, yo. I don't see nobody beating Milwaukee, yo. As much as
Milwaukee is, and I
man,
saw
man.
Smokey Rose got Bucks Suns Part 2, and to be honest, I mean that's a pretty good prediction. I mean, I mean the Bucks are solid. I mean they are solid.
And that's why I feel like when people say that Boston has the best roster from top to bottom, Milwaukee's roster. Don't sleep on Miami. I gotta say that. Don't sleep on Miami. I think, but man, Milwaukee is.
Oh yeah, nah. It's so. Let me ask you. Let's go back to Denver, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you've got a 2-time MVP.
That's probably about to be a 3-time.
It's about to be a 3-time MVP. When do we start holding him accountable?
Well, first of all, he probably should have been held accountable, but I think that if they don't get out the West this year, it's gonna start saying, "Are you getting all these MVPs?" But
because he's kind of turning into the Russell Westbrook of centers, to where his stats are good, but is it really helping the actual team? Because you just brought up a good point, and those guys like Michael Porter. He's been good, right? He broke out. He broke out during the bubble. I mean, a lot of people don't remember he was hurt in college. He had the back problems when he was with Missouri. I still hate the Knicks for this, for passing up on them, because Denver was the next pick, and we had the chance to get Michael Porter in that draft. Denver essentially redshirted him, set him out for a year. He came back. He's playing huge dividends there. Jamal Murray, I mean, he's been cooking for a while now, and they've been patient with him, and they figured out how to keep him in the fold. And then Aaron Gordon was absolutely one of the best steals at a trade deadline. I'm not going to say NBA history or anything crazy like that, but that was a good piece for them to get. And Aaron Gordon, not for nothing, always. You know who Aaron Gordon reminds me of? He reminds me somewhat of a modern-day Sean Marion. The Matrix played better defense, and the Matrix filled up a lot more stats than Aaron Gordon. But I feel like Aaron Gordon doesn't quite have the right size for the position that they want him to play. So he always seems like he's an undersized player. So he never gets... Like he doesn't shoot well enough to really be a 3. So nobody really wants to play him truly at a 3, but he's not big enough to really be a 4. So he's kind of like a tweener, and I think that's hurt him most of his career.
Hey, I ain't trying to be funny, yo. Nuggets might go to the finals for real. Like, I'm looking at their roster. First of all, I forgot Jeff Green was on that team. Well, they got Jeff Green, Aaron Gordon. They got the Joker. They just picked up Thomas Bryant.
That was a huge. That was.
They got DeAndre Jordan, KCP, Reggie Jackson, Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray. Hey, Bruce Brown is a good young player. They coming out the West, yo. They coming out the West. So I say Milwaukee versus Denver in the finals, and I think it's going to be a good finals if those two teams play.
So this is what I think. I think Ayton is a good matchup for the Joker. And they had similar wars in the back, and they seem to get along. And I felt like Ayton, when he's been matched up with the Joker, has played the Joker pretty strong. Chris Paul is going to have to turn on. I don't know where he's going to find it, but I think this is his last hoorah, right? And Devin Booker and KD, how do you defend when healthy both of those guys? With Chris Paul is the point. He's facilitating all this, and he's got Devin Booker and he's got Kevin Durant on each side.
Well, Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant, right? But Devin Booker, I know we just talked about James Harden. Devin Booker disappears in the playoffs too, you know.
So he does, but I think adding a Kevin Durant because they're going to complement each other, right?
Yeah.
So now Devin Booker can be the dog, right? Devin Booker is the dog. Kevin Durant's not so it's like this, right? Chris Paul and Devin Booker are going to hold everybody accountable. That's what Kevin Durant needs. He doesn't need anybody to hold him accountable. He needs somebody to hold everybody else accountable while he just does his thing.
Here's the thing. The Joker, like, they're gonna put DeAndre Jordan, Thomas Bryant, all those guys on 8, and the Joker's gonna be chilling. That's fine. You know, so you got KD, and because here's the thing, because eventually these guys got to go to the bench. Like, they got to go to the bench, and Phoenix bench is not as good as Denver's bench.
But you know what? In the playoffs, your bench shrinks anyway. So if they can get solid, if they can get a good solid 7 to 8 players, and they're healthy, Chris Paul is going to drink from the fountain of youth.
Oh,
this is the year that he does not get hurt.
And they're going to have a number 1 defense?
Now, I ain't figured that part out yet. I don't know who he's going to guard.
Man, listen, Jamal Murray is going to destroy Chris Paul. Man, stop playing. If they're both healthy, right? If Chris Paul and Jamal Murray is healthy, Jamal Murray is going to obliterate Chris Paul.
Right, so
with all due respect, because I love Chris Paul.
Yeah. We might have to put Devin Booker on Jamal Murray. I don't know what we're gonna do with Chris Paul, but he there to facilitate. He ain't there to play D.
I mean, so I tell you what, that's gonna be a hell of a. I hope if that has to be a series in these playoffs, it has to be a Western Conference Finals. I think that is gonna be a matchup that you're gonna be like, oh my gosh. Like, I mean,
Luka and Kyrie though,
but they don't play no defense, does that? So
they don't have to play.
Yeah, you do got to play defense because the thing is, like, if they go against Phoenix got first of all, Phoenix gonna have that added motivation because they got absolutely punished in Game 7, so they got that added motivation. Now you add KD to that added motivation. Like, come on, I think that Dallas is going to be good. You know, they'll be in the playoffs. Let me see. If the playoffs started today, I think they would be playing. They will be playing because they're they're not the 4th seed. They're the 6th seed, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so the seed they would play right now. They play Sacramento. Okay, all right. I don't know. We'll see. Because, don't be surprised if Sacramento, takes a dip a little bit. But that's what I want to see. I want to see.
Shout out to them. Hopefully they don't find a way to screw this up.
Right.
But they're about to end the longest playoff drought. So hopefully.
And I think that they'll be good, man.
Now, if they show up like that boy showed up in 3-point contest, what's his name? Hunter. For Sacramento, they can't fumble like he fumbled.
Nah, I think that Herter.
Yeah, Herter. That's it.
But I think that they'll be fine. They got some dogs. Oh, I didn't know Dellavedova was there. That's funny, but nonetheless, I want to see Phoenix versus Denver. That's what I want to see in the finals, in the Western Conference Finals, in the Eastern Conference Finals. I want to see. I mean, Milwaukee, Boston would be cool. Milwaukee, Miami would be cool. Boston, Miami would be cool. Now, I don't want to see Boston, Miami again. But I think that I think this is setting up to be a hell of a run. Is a final 23 games. I think it's setting up to be. So let me before we get out of here, the Lakers don't make a run.
Yes. I like the new look Lakers.
Do they win their first round?
I think the Lakers are going to surprise everybody. I think that D'Angelo Russell was a great addition. I like the little pieces that they put together. I really do. I think that LeBron, 2 years out the playoffs is not going to be good for him. It's
Agreed.
not. So right now, and I wanted to talk about this a little earlier because I know I hate to bring this up right when we get out of here, but I'll say this: he has moved his name into the GOAT conversation, right? Well, it's always been in the conversation, but I think he's given people another bullet point that if you argue for LeBron. To use closer to the Jordan. If he misses the playoffs for a second straight year, he's going to add another bullet point to our Jordan people that believe that he's the GOAT. He can't miss it twice, and he can't go out the first round. He's got to, in his 20th year, he is playing out of his mind, right? He's playing better. Like, we haven't seen this level of greatness statistically.
Right.
But what people are always going to remember and what they're always going to measure is, did you win? Is this the last hurrah? Absolutely not. But he's got to take that team. When you're the greatest of all time, it was like this year with Tom Brady, right? People saw Tom Brady could play another season of football. Everybody knows that. But you just saw that he wasn't great this year. And it didn't look like the same Tom Brady. And if you're a Tom Brady fan and you're watching, you're like, all right, time going to turn this around. Time going to turn this around.
Absolutely.
And you had that faith. But Tom knew at the end of the season, every Tom Brady fan knew that it's like, yo,
that's right.
Yeah, that Tom's Peyton Manning. It got like that for him. That last Super Bowl run was ugly.
He got benched.
Yeah, he got benched and had to come back in there. And it was ugly. It was ugly to watch Peyton go out like that.
But he left out with a Super Bowl.
He left out with a Super Bowl, but you just knew that it was over.
It was over.
LeBron is going to hold off until Bronny is able to play, right? I get all that. But if he don't ever make the playoffs again, holding off to Bronny, it's not going to be good for him, man.
So that would say he got about 2 or 3 more seasons left.
In them 2 or 3 seasons, I don't think he needs to win a championship, but he's got to make sure that his team is in the playoffs at least to preserve his legacy.
That's fair.
For it to go where it's going now. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
If it gets to the point to where LeBron is just low manager and he's out just shooting movies and he's just on the team, you know, I mean, the stats and stuff, it's not going to.
All right. Well, we're going to get up out of here. We'll talk more LeBron and MJ because and we'll talk about it later. But that whole GOAT talk, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I wanted to definitely get into that a little bit earlier, but and I started to, but I was like, you know what? That ends the show because that was going to take up another 30 or 40 minutes. Like there's no way that you can have that conversation and it's just an hour and it gets everybody hype and everybody wants to chime in and people want to fight us when they see us because
there's a question.
Okay.
Oh wait. If he wins a chip with his son, where would that put him?
Oh, the greatest of all time.
Damn. Yeah, because MJ's sons is trash. But man, it was trash, yo.
I got my opinions on Bronny too.
Well, Bronny was just projected to be the number 10 pick in the 24 draft. So Bronny's gotten way better than when we first saw him. He's one of the best players in the country. Let's not, you know what? We gotta go because you about to, because he nice. That boy nice.
He is nice.
Oh my gosh, here we go.
No. Bronny is nice, right? But I want to say this. I got to see more out of Bronny.
God, he's 17 years old. Oh my God. Of course we got to see more.
You know what I'm saying in Bronny? And I'll put people
He's
on.
better than Dwayne Wade, son.
So I'll put people onto this, right? I don't know if anybody is watching. It's a Prime show. Mm-hmm. It's a LeBron show, and it follows Bronny's high school team.
Okay.
So
Sierra.
The Sierra Miss high school. Not Sierra Miss, but it's like
Sierra Canyon, man.
Sierra Canyon, not Sierra
Canyon. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, it follows that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it shows Bronny. And Bronny, I mean, he's out there balling, right? He's at the time when the documentary shot, he's like the second best player. It's known that his senior year, he's going to be the guy. Mm-hmm. But the reoccurring thing with Bronny is he gets a lot of freak injuries. The one is going to be his younger brother.
Oh, yeah, Bryce he's a monster.
Is the one that I think.
Well, he's already taller than Bronny.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the guy that's going to be the next, like LeBron. I think Bronny.
Well, he's 15, right?
Right. I think Bronny is going to be a solid NBA player. I think he's going to have a solid career, but I think Bryce is going to be the one that
the superstar.
Yeah, the superstar. Yep. That's honestly what I think.
Well, we're gonna find that. So Bryce is gonna be Serena and Bronny's gonna be Venus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. We'll see. I mean, we got plenty of time. I think 15, 16.
We got plenty of time. Yeah, exactly.
Oh God. LaMelo and Lonzo is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, but I got what he was going. I got where he was going.
I'm gonna save my stuff for next week because I ain't gonna forget it. Because I have a feeling that we're gonna have this conversation offline throughout the week, and I ain't gonna forget what I got to say. I don't remember it. I just know that this is off the record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
Your boy Scotty B.
Yo, Bronny nice, yo.
No, I never did. I never said that he wasn't nice. I'm just saying that the guy.
They said that he might be the best defender in high school in the country. The best high school defender in the country.
That is true. But I see that translating into like his pro game and his college game. So I see him being not necessarily a role player.
We about to be here another 30 minutes.
No. I see that being the staple of his game. Mm-hmm. Because that's what he's been on his high school team is he's been more like sort of like his father, and he could evolve like his father to where it was just like his father had that passion for passing. Mm-hmm. Like you couldn't deny it.
Yeah.
Everything else just kind of like he worked on it, he got it to where it needed to be. Like he became, I mean, the number one scorer, but it wasn't a natural thing because he was a natural passer.
Mm-hmm.
His son is a natural defender that takes a lot of pride in his defense and takes more pride in playing defense than necessarily being the superstar of the team.
Well,
And maybe that's going to shift.
Yeah.
Because he's got the athletic, talent, but you can see that right now, or the seasons that I saw where they covered him, he didn't mind doing the garbage work. And he was more content with, he still scored 15, 16 points, and he still took his shots, but he didn't have that superstar, I'm the man type of mentality. It was like, yo, I'm going to lock you down type of mentality first. So.
Right. All right. Well, understood. I'm still gonna say the rest of my side.
You can save it. I mean,
Right.
Everybody's going. You'll see eventually what I'm saying. And you can be like, oh, okay. We'll see.
All right. We out. We out of here.
We off the record. Anthony Adebayo. We off the record.
With you there, but if you're a coach, do you take that chance?
Yes. You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. We off the record. Anthony Adebayo. We off the record. And the most accurate sports coverage. We off the record. Scotty B's Fantasy 5. We off the record. We off the record.
We're different from any other sports.
His sophomore year. Comes back and says, you know what?
And your boy, Scotty B. We off the record.